Welcome back to another youth-centered podcast. Rick Gorman here, the director of the North Andover Youth Center. The podcasts are going really well. We really appreciate all the people that have been following us on the podcast and coming up with some great ideas and a number of suggestions of who to come in next. So we actually have planned this out through the summer now. Today, I'm real lucky to have a pretty amazing professional in town here, Kate DeLisle from the North Andover Middle School. She's a special education teacher, and she's done some crazy, amazing things. I've been following her on social media this past year, and actually even before that, working with a great group of kids that we're going to hear a lot about and some of the stuff that she's doing. So welcome to the podcast, and thanks for coming on, Kate.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Kate, for our listeners who may not know you or kids haven't been to the middle school yet, who is Kate DeLisle and how long have you been working in our school system?
So first and foremost, I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. I'm married to Jonathan DeLisle from town. I was born and raised in Winchester. I got my degree from Lesley University, but I have been at North Andover Middle School for 15 years now. And I run the substantially separate program for kids and the life skills program. So basically, I am just a Irish Catholic girl from a big family who loves to hang out with all of her family at the beach and, loves my job and loves what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How old are your kids now?
My kids are 12. My oldest is actually at the middle school now, which is crazy for me. 9 just yesterday, 8 and 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kate, you run a very popular life skills program at NAMS, which you just touched on. Can you tell us a little bit about the kids you serve and what the skills program really is, in essence?
So the Life Skills program is a substantially separate program at the middle school, which basically means that the kids are in my classroom for all their academics throughout the day, and then they go out for their related arts classes. So they come into my classroom and they work on academics like every other student, yet we make their academics functional and adapt it to their ability level. So, for example, the Massachusetts standards we work on just like every other student in the middle school. So if the 6th grade has to work on a standard on comparing number quantities, we use that to teach money skills in a math class or when we work at the hallway cafe. If the standard framework is narrative writing papers, we have the kids work on retelling about their weekends, on their communication device or typing or writing, however they can communicate. So we are just working on their academics, but at a functional level. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually seen the cafe in the morning when I go to meetings at the middle school. I get grilled to buy a coffee or whatever. But the guys and the girls I see there are awesome. What's an average school day like for Kate DeLisle from the minute you walk into NAMS until you call it a day in the afternoon?
So the average school day, there really is no average school day for us. But
Sure.
The day starts off with my fabulous TA. I really could not do anything without my TA, Jeannie. But we get the kids off the buses, we go to their lockers, and we try and include the kids as much as we possibly can with their typical peers. So we make sure that they get into homerooms, and then we get them back into our classes. And we run our room like you would run any other classroom. So we start off with group meeting, and then the kids have their academics, which is reading, writing, math. But then we also introduce a life skills period, a job skills period, social skills period. And we just start teaching the kids things that they will need, as they get older and when they're out in the community. And some of the jobs that they have are changing the school marquee out in front of the school. So when you guys drive by the school, you'll see, that the chorus concert
Sure.
is, on Friday. That's something that we've done, delivering mail, recycling for classrooms. And then we do seasonal jobs like wrapping presents for the staff for their kids, or planting flowers out in front of the school for PTAC. And then the newest addition for jobs is the hallway cafe that we just talked about. We created that last year, and it's a coffee shop that runs pretty much most Fridays from 9 to 11. And we run it in the NAMS lobby. So if you do walk into the lobby, we will say, welcome to the Hallway Cafe.
Absolutely.
Come buy a coffee from us. And the students from the Life Skills program and the RISE program work there. And we sell coffee, bagels, and muffins that Perfectos has been so generous on, working with us on great pricing. And the kids started this program from the ground up, and we worked on what would be good unit pricing, and how would we sell it, and how should we market it, and what should the name be, and this was a great way to get the kids to figure out how to do a job, and how do we do this. And it worked on money skills, social skills, job skills, organization, social skills, getting them out, interacting with staff that they would never have known in the building. And this has been, such a great opportunity for them, but also a great opportunity for the staff that really would never have known these kids, because they were in my program or they didn't have them in a related arts classroom. So it's not just good for them, it's great for the other people in the building.
Sure, for the whole culture of the building. How has it been received? Teachers, students?
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So the days that we're not open, people will send me an email like, what do you mean Hallway Cafe is not open today?
That's great.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with your number of your, what I would call, empowering field trips for your kids. Tell our listeners about a few of them that you do, and what's the goal of these trips? How do the kids react to the trips, and the follow-up, I guess, after the trips comes back? Take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so thank you. I really do appreciate that. So I love the fact that we can get out into the community, and we've always been lucky enough that we could take walking field trips to Sal's or to Dunkin' Donuts because we're so close. The MBTA bus, or MV Merrimack Valley bus, runs right out in front, so we've been able to hop on that and take it to go to Market Basket or Kohl's. But also the youth center has been so kind to let us use your van, so we've been able to get out into the community a lot more. So we're so appreciative to you guys for that as well. So recently we've been able to go and do a lot more outside of just North Andover. One of the trips that we just took was to Breaking Grounds Cafe in Peabody, which is run by the Northeast Arc, and it is owned and operated by people, adults with disabilities, and they run this program where they train their staff, all with disabilities, on what kind of a job is it that you want to do. Do you want to be the front of the house person? Do you want to be the person that makes food in the back? And they'll train their staff there to figure out, okay, maybe that's not what you want to do after a couple weeks. You don't like working at the cash register. Maybe that working in the coffee shop isn't right for you. So they'll find you a job somewhere else in Peabody that you actually might like working at the library instead. And so the Northeast Arc will then start pairing you with a job in another direction. So it's been a really great program for them. And it was just supposed to be a pop-up coffee shop just for 6 weeks. But Peabody has embraced this coffee shop so much that they've actually been there for a year and a half, and they've gone national. They've been picked up by national news stations, and they were on Good Morning America, and they've been on everything. So that was one of the field trips that we took to kind of pair with Hallway Cafe. Today we went to Especially Sweet Needs in Chelmsford, which is a cupcake bakery that just opened last weekend, run by students with autism. And it just opened, and they're open until their cupcakes sell out, and they sell out in just a few hours. And these are great trips because they show our students that there's so much more for you to do out there. It's not just you have to go to Market Basket and be a bagger, or, you have to just, go somewhere and fold boxes, or you have to just hang things on a hanger. You can go and own your own bakery. You can go and there's so many more opportunities out there. You're not just, confined to these jobs that, people thought you had to do years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You, it's obvious to me that you subscribe to what we believe here in the Youth Center of relationship building. And your passion, just listening to you talk right now, passion's my number one word. You can tell you are passionate about your kids and your work. And you've obviously done great work. But what have you gotten out of working with these kids? Like, what do you take home from this?
I love my job and I love what I do. And I think that when you walk, or I hope that when you walk into my classroom, I hope that when you come across some of my students, that passion and that love, comes across. And I think that when you're in my classroom, you become my family. And that's truly how I feel. When I get these students, I work with them for 3 years, and I feel very lucky to have that relationship. Other teachers only have their children for a year, and then they move on. I have these children for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I think that, I'm very lucky that, I get them for 3 years. And then when I can build that relationship and I can become passionate, once these children know that they're loved and safe and respected, that together that we can accomplish, anything. And no matter how long a task takes, especially for these students, sometimes these tasks can take a very long time. Even something like, for my students, learning how to use a calculator can take, a year for some of these students. The feeling that when that child learns how to do that small task that to somebody else is, something that you take for granted, to me, when that child learns how to do that task, is an undescribable feeling. I wouldn't trade that feeling for the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the power of social media and how you have used social media to make other people aware of all the work you've done. When did you start getting it? It's really interesting to me. The town in general, school people in general are getting really much more involved with social media. I think the Youth Center was one of the more cutting edge departments, starting it right from the beginning. And, you've used this power of social media. What's your take on that? And, what are you hoping to do when you basically post about the different programs you're doing?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I started my Twitter page at Kate's Class 1 because we're number one. And I started it, and it was a private account, and I had it just for my parents, just so they could see a little bit of a window into the world of their kids. What is a day in the life of their child like? And I just thought, as a parent, I would love to see what goes on in my child's classroom. Sure. What are they doing? And I thought it was a nice way for them to be able to see, especially for their kids who a lot of them are nonverbal, what are they doing? And it was a nice way for me to be able to post pictures or work samples, sometimes videos of what's going on. And then a few years ago, I decided to make my account public for the community because I thought, you know what? It's important for the community to be able to see what these kids are doing. Because oftentimes, I think when people hear the word life skills, I think they still have that image of the classroom at the end of the hall that is, sorting silverware and is by themselves. And I kind of want to push that boundary and show them that, just because it's a life skills classroom doesn't mean these kids aren't working just as hard, and if not harder, than some of the kids in the regular ed classrooms. And so I opened it up to the public and I tweeted out, and we have gotten such a good response with the Twitter page. And I'm amazed at how well it's taken off. We've actually been contacted by the Eagle Tribune. They've written articles about the Hallway Cafe. We were contacted by Jeanne d'Arc Credit Union. And now because of that, we have a financial literacy class that is taking place probably 2 times a month for the students in the life skills and the RISE programs. So I think that the social media can be a very powerful tool when done right. I think it's been really great.
Absolutely. And, I really encourage people. One more time on your Twitter site, the handle?
Kate's Class 1.
Kate's Class 1. Yeah. You've done a great job with that. Just this week, we had the the event with the Andover and North Andover at the stadium for a lot of our kids with disabilities, and some of the videos from that.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't get a little touched by that, you weren't really human in my mind. It was pretty impressive. It was great to see the community rally around it, not just the kids in the school department, but seeing our chief of police and our fire chief running to start it, and all the people involved with that, just really great. So where would you like to take your program from a growth perspective? So Jen Price has done a phenomenal job, and as she winds down her time here and Greg Gilligan takes over, I'm really excited of a lot of initiatives that have happened in the school department in the last 3 years. In terms of your program within the school department, where do you see this growing to?
I think we've done a really great job. I mean, in the 15 years that I've been in North Andover, when I came here, it was just a learning center and my program, and that was really all we had in North Andover. Now we have a learning center, we have the life skills program, and we have 4 other specialized programs. So I would like to see, the special ed program continue to evolve for these children. I would love to see my program to continue to be inclusive. I would love to see more community involvement, not just for my kids to be able to get out into the community, but for the community to kind of, reach in and get involved too. I think that would be really wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
A little plug for a couple of things that we're doing here. Nick Savarese, who was former director at Special Olympics, we started a program about 12 years ago now called North Andover Crusaders. On Thursday night, we open up our gym. We give the Crusaders the gym for the night, and they have a couple of groups of kids that come in and learn how to play basketball and get ready for some basketball tournament. It's a real community aspect. Parents, kids from the high school, kids from the middle school come down and work with a lot of the kids that you're working as well as other kids in the community. It's been a big success and keeps growing every year. And the second thing is Dr. Donna Strait and I started a program last year of including a lot of special ed kids into our summer fun program, which was a major success. We had a number of kids at both of our summer fun sites, and we're starting year 2 of that too. So inclusion and giving all these kids the same opportunities as other kids has been a big plus, and we're continuing to grow with that. What does the future hold for Kate DeLisle?
Well,
you've got 4 kids.
I have 4. That is it. No more kids. That's
and a husband that was actually one of
yep.
my former kids when I first started here.
Yes, yeah.
So as you continue, you said you've been here 15 years.
Yes.
What's the future hold for you professionally and personally?
Professionally, I hope that I can continue to work at North Andover Middle School. I hope to be as happy in my profession as I am now. I wake up every morning excited to go to work. I love what I do. I hope that my family continues to be healthy and happy. I would love to finally publish the children's book that I have in my head.
Really?
Yeah. And, that would be, my one goal in life. Maybe hit the lottery. That would be wonderful.
We'd all like to do
that.
Yeah. We always, as we kind of wrap up the podcast, we give you an opportunity to maybe address something to whatever the kids you're working with, maybe some parents that may not be familiar with your program, or just people in the community that just want to know a little bit more. What would you like to say to these people?
I would just like to say to, all my former parents, I would like to say thank you. I think they have made me a better person, a better teacher. They have touched me and in my family in ways that I don't think that they would ever really understand. And I love them from the bottom of my heart. And I encourage them all to keep in touch. I mean, I keep in touch with pretty much almost all of the families that I have worked with over the 15 years. And I think that I'm a very lucky person because of that. If you don't know about our program and you are interested, they can always reach out and email me. We are very happy to answer any questions.
Why don't you give you that email address?
DeLisleK@northandoverpublicschools.com.
That's awesome. As I said off the air before we got started, I'm passionate about a lot of the work you do. I have a 30-year-old now niece that was born with Down syndrome. And 30 years ago, I don't think there was as many services and a lot of community programs that we have right now. My sister and brother-in-law did a phenomenal job, not only raising Noelle, but advocating for her for programs like this. She works 4 days a week now, still lives at home, and has plans to move out at some point if you listen to her. And but the people that have been involved with Noelle's life, besides her parents, are angels in many, many ways. And, you know, we're thankful for people like Kate DeLisle who obviously do wonderful work with this. So continued success with everything you're doing at the middle school, and obviously collaborating here with the youth center.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do as well, Rick. Yeah.
Thank you. And as we always say, you know, we are always hashtag every kid counts, and we really believe that. So thank you, Kate, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to wrap up with a little bit. Like I said, we have a number of new guests coming on. We're trying to do this every Friday. Our goal is to get it uploaded by Friday night to a variety of different social media sites. It'll also be on our website, and you can get it at BeanPod as well as iTunes. So hopefully, Kate will have this up in the next couple hours. And as we always say to end and you epitomize what we say on this last thing, Kate, but too much passion is never enough passion. See you next week.